Okay, so there's so much stuff that I want to talk to you guys about. So many things. I really learned that manifesting happens with ease. When God says, have the faith of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. This is so true. And life has never been better for me in my life. And this is God. There's no witchcraft in it. It's not manifesting due to personal gain. It's manifesting through, changing yourself, through, rising in vibration. It's completely done through an inner self cleanse. It's done by controlling your thoughts and your minds and your emotions. It's from being more godlike in nature and separating yourself from the masses. And this video, was going to be all about that, and I'm going to do that. But, there's been something come up. So what I want to talk about is when I came home from vacation, my buddy John messaged me. He's like, look at the moon. And I was like, okay. So, I go out and look at the moon, and the moon is completely off. It's not how I've ever seen it in my life. And there's a shadow casted from Earth. It's just our perception of the moon is what it is. It's our perception based on location. And that's how we get, the full moon and the waxing moon and all these things. And I'm putting a clip up here of the moon phases so you can remember, and recognize them of how we've always known them. Now, I'm also getting ready to throw a clip on here of how the moon has been in the past 2 nights. So check this out. And as you can see, the moon is not in, the shadow casted from Earth is not where it should be. We're about 45 degrees off. And that means that Earth is spinning differently on its axis. And when I first come into my serious awakening, as you know, I've always had a gift, but even with a gift, you have to find your path. And, it was through my growth and awakening that all this knowledge came to me. And I've spoke to you guys many times about a flood. And the reason why is because the moon, or the Earth's poles are reversing. You got a north pole and a south pole. And when those reverse, it's a pole swap. It's a pole reversal. If that happens, which has happened years ago, dinosaur time, but, scientists aren't telling you this stuff. And that was one of the first, visions I got. The knowledge poured into me was that Earth was experiencing heartaches and hardship. And that's really true. Like, if you look this up, you'll see that we are navigating from our poles somewhat, but it's happening over a course of a few years. And if we were to do a total pole reversal, we would have power grid outages, we would have flooding, we would have massive weather issues. It would be devastating to our animals and plants and even human life. And so, it's happening due to the changes, the global changes. But, the government tries to blame our pollution on cars, and they're trying to do this new Green Deal. That's not the case. I'm not going to tell you that our cars don't pollute things and disrupt the harmony of Earth and things like that. But really what's happening is it's the government messing with frequencies. It's the Wi-Fi and the technology that's really hammering things. And to make it worse, they're going to tell us that we need electric cars. You guys, it might not put out the same, it might be better pollution-wise on your vehicle, but there's factories that's got to make these things. There's factories that's got to make these batteries, When you're pushing that much energy out, it has to back out. Like, it's got to have a release somewhere. It's like electric, you have a power source going in somewhere. It's got to have a ground. It has to have a place to come out. So when you see all this technology, HARP and things like this, they're pushing out a lot of electrical currents, but it has to go out somewhere. So like for CERN, they've been harvesting this energy underground, and it's actually explosive. It is like really bad. When we are firing spacecraft into space, they tell us we're exploring certain things. They're dabbling with realms and time. This is where the destruction comes, and God says that he will not, and it says in the Bible, he will not, in the earth. That's why Jesus was sent. He's not going to end us. It's not him. It's our own repercussions of what we've done to the earth that causes these things to happen to us. And so, we've been talking, the awakened community's been talking a long time about rising into the fifth dimension in consciousness and also in earth. Earth's rising and changing its location in space. And so, with that being said, when I look at the moon, I can see that the earth's already moving. It's already progressing. Is it a good or bad thing? You know, honestly, Jesus came for this three-dimensional world to exist, and we're destructing time. And so somebody's going to pay for that. It's not the awoken that's paying for that. It's the elite. So it's something that you don't have to worry about. God's shedding his God's sending all of his energy to us and waking us more and more. And we're not blind now. He makes the blind man see. And I know I'm so thankful for that. But I could show many people this moon, and especially, like, I have a lot of friends on Facebook, and it's crazy because they're like, I think I got 6 comments or 6 likes. They don't even recognize the changes. They don't even when it's right in front of their faces. They don't see anything different, or they're not even looking into it more. The government and the news and the media is talking about mass shootings and anything they can to try to take our guns away. But they're not telling anyone the truth, of course, and it's frustrating. But I just keep this mindset like, God's got this. I know God's not destructing the earth. I know that if we do flood, that it's not him. That rainbow he promised, when we look up and see a rainbow, we know we're not going to be flooded by him. He's not going to cause earth to flood. It's man that's doing it. It's everything man's done is what's causing this. So I just want you guys to pay attention to what's going on. If you would, notice your moon, observe it at night, take a picture and send it to me if you could. Let me know what kind of shadows casted from your perspective. And that's what this is. It's about perspective. The earth, it's given us a different perspective because earth is spinning differently than it once was. And I've noticed on my trip, man, I was just like so vibing good. Looking in the sky, I seen meteors. Like, I even have this on my camera. I couldn't figure out if it was a meteor or a missile. I mean, I looked on the news, nobody mentioned this anywhere, nobody's talking about it. It's like, wow, like, why are they not speaking of this stuff? I seen it. I was near the coast of Oregon, and my son seen it. We all seen it. Cause a disturbance in the way the earth's setting. There was a earthquake in China, 2012, I believe, that threw the earth off by a second. It's like eventually that's going to affect our maps and things. Why aren't they speaking of this stuff? Why aren't they speaking of this stuff? It's just incredible. The reason why is because they want to keep control. They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop their dabbling. They're not going to stop trying to intercept the minds and make people transhuman. They're not going to stop at none of this. They're not going to want anyone to know that, because if you look into it long enough, you're going to realize that this is all coming from the elite. That the changes in the earth's coming from them. It's their control that's causing it. Their want and power for control is causing the destruction, the total disruption and destruction of Earth, and it's crazy. Good news is, for the awakened, we're not gonna worry, because we don't worry, okay? And I know, we're all human, and we're gonna worry sometimes, but you have to control your thoughts. I cannot wait to do this next video and tell you guys about this trip. I have been thinking, wow, God, you've showed me so much. My life has never been so good. Anything that I can dream of is happening. And as we move into a higher conscious, and as Earth, sheds its old perception of reality and moves into this new perception of reality, which we're going into now. Wow, like, anything's possible. It's not limited to me. It's to you and everyone. All you have to do is control your thoughts. And, if you look at life like a dream, okay? I've been to so many realms and seen myself in so many lifetimes that, this is where I wake up. This is where I am the most of the time. But when this body sleeps, I go to other time frames. And in each and every time frame, I even was teaching a child, a little kid. He was probably a teenager, actually. But I was teaching him, if you want to kick that football far, you gotta think it and believe it. And, like, really get in your mind. And I told him that, and he thought about it, and then he kicked that football, and it went all the way across the field. It's like, even in other realms, they're learning. In the same goes and applies for this realm. What's inside is what you see. It's a reflection of your surroundings. You could tell a lot by looking at somebody's life. How hard is their life? Is it miserable? Is it unfortunate? Is it poverty? It's because of what's in them that's reflecting outward. Because You can really change yourself if you change what's inside of you and control your thoughts. Realize that any thought that's not of God, any negative thought is the devil, and it's only distracting you from the truth. And once you get that, man, it's just amazing. And, for 2 years I've been doing this, and I can't believe it. I can't believe how my life's changed. I went, from the modular to this farmhouse, and I just bought a $30,000 car on vacation. It's like, wow, my income has not changed. The only thing that's changed is my mindset. It's like I don't worry. I don't worry about anything. I'm not going to worry about finances. God always provides. And I'm telling you, man, when you know that, things change for you. And as we move into 5D, into fifth dimension, Earth's moving into fifth dimension. That's why we're looking at our moon differently. If it continues to move, we're all going to experience things like this. Manifestation becomes easy to people. Watch the moon and honestly just pay attention to how it's moving. And it's really not the moon that's moving around us. A lot of people say, well, it's cartwheeling around us. It's really just the perception. It's the earth, and it's how it's moving. Everything else is still moving the same. It's earth that's moving differently on its axis. Notice weather patterns should change soon. And even storms and floods could come in. Now I'm not going to say that we're doing a complete full reversal right now, because if we do, this third dimensional perception of reality will diminish. I mean, I'm not saying everybody will die, but many people will lose their lives if that was to happen. We don't think of it like that, First of all, we never die. I'm not trying to be a doomsday person. We just expand and grow. So, yeah, I'm going to get into manifesting. And I had a tooth pulled right when I got home from vacation. My mouth's really swollen and it kind of hurts to talk. But I definitely want to get this out here to let you know that there's something odd going on with our moon. Definitely check out your moon. If you would leave me comments. I know I have people on here from the Netherlands, from Australia, from many other places. And I would like to see how the moon looks from where you're standing. And yeah, I think that's about it for now. Even if you're from the U.S., let me know about the moon and how it looks from where you're at. I'll be back on soon, and stay in touch. Thanks for watching. Peace.